Hey there, Physics Geek. I didn't see you come in. Alright, so I'm doing the physics of swimming. And first, one thing, we need some basic information.
Isaac Newton was a physicist during the 17th century. He wrote his book The Principia that summarized the three main laws of motion. Newton's first law states an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted on by an unbalanced force, and an object in motion continues in motion with the same speed and the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. This is known as the law of inertia. Newton's second law of motion states the acceleration of an object depends on the mass of the object and the amount of force applied. So acceleration is equal to the force over the mass. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. You can see an example below. Now that we know the laws of motion, let's get started. Well, since water is 700 times denser and 55 times more viscous than air, Newton's third law of motion is a law that mainly applies to swimming. As you can see, the swimmer is pushing the water behind her, and the water exerts the reaction force and pushes the swimmer forward. Swimmers feel a constant resistance that is found by this equation. R is equal to 1/2 dPAV squared, where d is a constant for the viscosity of the liquid, p is the density of the water, a is the surface area of the body traveling through the water, and v is the velocity of the body traveling through the water. Swimmers float on top of the water because of buoyancy. Buoyancy is a net upward force which acts on a swimmer. The reason being the pressure of the water increases as the depth does. So the pressure beneath the swimmer is greater than the pressure above. This is the reasoning behind flotation. The magnitude of the buoyant force is F is equal to W fluid, where F is the net upward force and W fluid is the weight of the fluid displayed. The blue arrow is for the force, the red arrow is for gravity, the black arrow represents buoyancy, and the white arrow represents the reacting force.
In this case, the white arrow represents the force the swimmer is exerting. The blue arrow represents the friction. The red arrow represents gravity, and the black arrow is the reaction to gravity or natural force. gotta get back to practice, so I'll see you later.